Hey guys, I'm Kelsey Miller, and this is my persuasive speech for Public Speaking 1608. Every week in Florida, more than 4,531 babies are born. 600 babies are born premature. 380 of these babies are born with a low birth weight, which is under 5.5 pounds. 66 babies are born at under 3 pounds 5 ounces. 370 babies are born to families who didn't receive prenatal care or any prenatal information. And 29 babies will be born and they will die before their first birthday. My name is Kelsey Miller and I am a volunteer for the March of Dimes. March of Dimes is a nonprofit organization that strives to ensure that every baby is born healthy. I've been volunteering for the March of Dimes for over 12 years, and for the last 5 years I've been on their committee, where I spend time every month trying to raise money for this organization. I'm also the daughter of local division director Kim Tatum, who is responsible personally for raising over $420,000 in our division, which covers 7 counties. We strive every day to ensure that every baby is born healthy. And today I'm going to try to persuade you to have the same passion that I do, so you'll understand why I do what I do. A little history on the March of Dimes. Our organization was created by our president, Franklin D. Roosevelt. He was a sufferer of polio, and he set up this organization to try to find a cure. His biggest fundraiser was actually setting buckets in all the classes in elementary schools all across the country where elementary school students would come and donate their dimes every day. Upon doing this, he raised enough money that we actually did find a cure for polio. It's called the Salk vaccination, and every individual in America, as well as across the world, is given this vaccination when they're born so that they don't have polio growing up. Polio during the early 1900s was a disease that was basically a life sentence. It was, if a child was diagnosed with polio, the parents were almost certain that their child was going to die. We are the only nonprofit organization that has ever successfully completed our goal. We cured polio. And so now, since it started out with trying to cure polio at birth, we've now moved our target to premature birth and all birth defects, any birth defects. And so that's what March of Dimes does. We try to ensure that every baby is born without premature, completely healthy, and lives a healthy life. My first reason for trying to explain to you to join the March of Dimes is because everyone watching this video right now has been personally affected by the March of Dimes. What I want to do is I want to go over some things with you that will explain to you how you've been affected by the March of Dimes. If you would take time to note all the things that I say and think about how many times you have been affected. If you've ever had a polio vaccination, you've been affected by the March of Dimes. If you were a baby born healthy or unhealthy for that matter, you were affected by the March of Dimes. If you know anybody who suffered from cancer, you were affected by the March of Dimes. I have here a list of organizations or diseases that are considered a birth defect by the March of Dimes. If you ever know anybody that had a birth defect, premature birth, Feingold syndrome, liver disease, childhood leukemia, mental retardation, cystic fibrosis, Parkinson's disease, miscarriages, Down syndrome, Turner syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, infertility, microcephalia, Rett syndrome, Tay-Sachs disease, blood clotting, fetal alcohol syndrome, surgical scar prevention, immune deficiencies, kidney malfunction, muscular dystrophy, heart malformation, brain development, muscular atrophy, neonatal stroke, craniosynostosis, preeclampsia, iron deficiency, epilepsy, Weil's tumors, schizophrenia, sickle cell anemia, seizures, autism, SIDS, oral clefts, skin disorders, dyslexia, cerebral palsy, kidney disease, spina bifida, hemophilia, diabetes, hearing loss, childhood obesity, Fragile X syndrome, pediatric heart failure, pulmonary hypertension, language development, cancer, Alzheimer's disease, lung development, childhood glaucoma, lysosomal storage disease, congenital hypothyroidism, congenital heart defects, learning disabilities, limb defects, clubfoot, stillbirth, paralysis, and hundreds more. You've been affected by the March of Dimes. You see, there's a list of 177 organizations that receive money from the March of Dimes. Some of those include United Way, Susan B. Komen breast cancer, Red Cross. They all receive money from the March of Dimes every year because we consider those to be birth defects. They're all considered genetic. You can pass them down through your genes. A lot of times parents that have cancer will also have children that have cancer because it's a genetic defect. Well, our DNA occurs in the womb when our parents are pregnant with us. So we consider March of Dimes considers that to be a birth defect, even though sometimes the symptoms don't show up until our adult life. It still happens while you're pregnant, so it's considered a birth defect. Another reason I choose to volunteer for the March of Dimes is because I know that 77% of the dollars that I raise for the March of Dimes go back to the mission. That means that 77 cents that I raise actually goes to the research to cure premature birth and birth defects. The other 23% actually goes to administrative fees, which is like paying for venues and paying for bills that the bills that we acquire for these fundraisers we put on. Now, this may not seem like a big deal to you, but if you compare this to other organizations, it's huge. I am in no way trying to put down other organizations because I feel like every nonprofit organization is wonderful for what they do, for taking their time to try to cure and save the lives of others. But Susan B. Komen only spends 23 cents of their dollar to actually find the cure for breast cancer. That means that 77 cents of their dollar goes to advertisements, billboards, name recognition, and cost instead of getting it donated, as well as United Way. United Way only spends 24 cents of their dollar going back to their mission. And like I said, I'm not trying to put these down, but I love personally knowing that 77 cents of what I raise actually goes to funding a cure. Another reason why I volunteer for the March of Dimes is because it is so active in our community. If you go to Gulf Coast Community College on floor number 2, Gulf Coast Medical Center on floor number 2, there's a NICU. A NICU is a neonatal intensive care unit, and this is where babies who are premature go to get proper treatment. That was established by the March of Dimes. As well as with all the tornadoes that have hit and all the natural disasters, March of Dimes sends out rescue teams to those areas so that parents or mothers and babies don't get deprived of proper prenatal care. And we do this all for volunteer hours. We just do it as our volunteer time, and we make sure that every baby gets a fighting chance. Today I chose my visual aid to be several things. This is a premature diaper. This is a premature diaper. It won't even fit over the fist of my hand, and yet it fits over half the bodies of babies born every day. I have a picture of a baby who was born premature in the hands of their parent. This is them wearing the diaper, and this is showing that it covers over half of their body, and this baby can't breathe on his own. I also have a picture, or a ring. This is a size 6 ring. It's supposed to be symbolic for a wedding ring. The reason I chose the ring is because I have another picture here somewhere. This baby is wearing a size 6 wedding ring over his foot. If you can see it right here, this is the wedding ring, the same size that I just showed you over the baby's foot. The average size of a premature baby's foot is no bigger than the size of a paper clip. These babies are small and they're helpless and they can't fight for themselves, and they need us to fight for them because they are our future. Babies are our future. all in all, I hope that you consider volunteering for the March of Dimes, because it's a wonderful organization. Volunteer in general. I think volunteering is an excellent way to spend your time. I choose the March of Dimes not because it only donates to every other organization or 177 others, and because it's so active in the community, but I choose it because one day I hope to have children, and I hope to be the mother of healthy babies, because I was a healthy baby, and I want to give a life out there the same opportunities that I've had, and to see the things that I've seen. I love saying every day that I'm a lifesaver, and I hope that you will consider trying to say the same thing. Thank you for your time.